All right. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and probably good morning from wherever you are joining us from today. Thank you once again for joining us. I think today is the fourth webinar series, research webinar series. Last week we had Misha Kaderele talking through data analysis and interpretation. 2 weeks ago we had Ayomide Adeoye talking through methodology. And the last 3 weeks, we had Bidemi Oguntoji talking through laying a solid foundation for literature review. And today, we have a soon-to-be doctor as well in the house, who will be talking about research writing, referencing, and plagiarism. And the name of our speaker for today is Michael Adekanbi. As we can see from what is being shared on the screen right now, Michael Adekanbi is a PhD student in mechanical engineering at Port University. Only a genius can be doing mechanical engineering. Driven by passion for advancing energy research. His research interests include engine electrification, optimization of internal combustion engines, low carbon fuels, and leveraging advanced engine control strategies for the decarbonization of the heavy-duty industry. He graduated with first-class honors from the University of Ibadan in 2021 and is a recipient of the Andrew N. Frederick Fellowship at Purdue University. He has published multiple papers and also served as a reviewer for various energy-related journals. Be sure that you'll be getting first experience talk on this topic today. Again, Michael led the team that won the National Procter and Gamble P&G CEO Challenge, and he represented Nigeria in the regional ranks, and he competed against teams from India, the Middle East, and Africa. He's deeply committed to addressing energy-related challenges and has achieved several milestones in this area, including being featured as a future thought leaders by Illuminate. Outside of academics, Michael enjoys setting up sound system for events, mechanical engineer, sound engineer, what a combo. Without any further ado, I would like to hand over to our guest speaker for today to take the floor and share with us what he has prepared for us. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope that you learn one or two things from the presentation. Over to you, Michael.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Like, I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for having me here. Like, I consider it an opportunity. So I see familiar faces like
So,
Obiko. Yeah, I see like Josiah is the boss, and like I see Timothy. That's a good actually. That means we can have like we would like to say a get together webinar or something, right? Like, but I mean that's a good. So for me, like I would be speaking on this, but then like I would be basically interacting and just showing us like step by step like
I
process
think
on
you are
how to
muted.
get this done. Okay,
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't worry, that's for me.
okay.
You
So
can go
I'll
ahead.
be showing us like step by step process on how to get this done. So for me, like I learned how to write. Like I love writing. So like I joined the press back in University of Baton, Sultan Bello Press. So I write like I write for the press when I was in UI. So I think that was one of the things that that kind of like helped my world of writing, right? And after like that, I begin to like have interest in like research, right? So like I begin to have interest in research writing, and then I used the whole of COVID to like learn how to like write research papers. Like my first paper I ever wrote was very horrible. In fact, I don't want to even look at it because it's not it's not the best. I can be honest with you. So like it's all like learning, right? So then I used to think like probably when I get comments from people like they they can be very hard on the comments, right? I mean, I remember my first like feedback I got from a reviewer like when I first tried to publish. It was a lot. I was like, what's this? Like, like it was a lot of criticism. I thought like they were mad at my work or something, or they don't just like me. Um, I thought like so I mean one of my mentors had to bribe me with 50K. They're like, go do it, take the money. And then I was a student, right? I was a broke student, so I collected the money and then I pushed it in the work and it got published, right? So now like standing as like me reviewing for like different kind of energy journals, I now understand that like they're not hard at me. Even me going like I'm not very hard on people. Not because like I choose to be wicked, right? It's just because of like I mean like quality is what all matters, right? Nobody wants to read your junk. Everybody wants to read like something like that is meaningful and quality, right? So like it's not a paper mill. It's not an essay composition writing the like we all just want to do and just like tick off the box, right? It's just there are people who prefer quality, and then if you want to like do a work, just get it quality, or else don't even do it. So I mean I have slides to share today, but then I don't want it to become like a lecture or lecture series. I'll make it more fun for us. So I feel free to like stop me at any point if you think like you want to ask a question. Like you don't have to wait to the end because I'll make it want to be interactive. So like I mean, feel free to just tell me like Michael, you said this, like I don't think I agree with this. You can argue with me. It's fine, right? It's not but like if you want to also learn, like you can also like ask questions, right? So like it's all I'm open to all. So I would be giving like the first perspective of like from a reverse perspective, right? Um, okay, I think I show my screen. So most of the things I'll be saying, right, will be coming right from the perspective of like me being a reviewer. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. I don't know what of my screen is are saying, but
Yes, yes, your screen is visible.
uh,
I-
I,
I-
I don't have two screens in front of me. Uh, can you see the screen with the slide? This research writing. Okay, I think this screen is saying. Um, okay. So let me just go into the full mode. Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm talking about like plagiarism, reference, research writing, and referencing. Um, the first question I ask is like, oh, why should I care about publishing? Why should I care about like why should I publish? I mean, it's a lot of work. They will criticize my work. They will say my work is not good. They will say my work is not original. They will say my work lacks scope. So why should I care and go through all of those stress, right? So the thing is like if you do all of the work in this world and you produce like a bomb that can kill everybody in the whole world, and you can't communicate like that to like the everybody, like I mean, of what use is what you is your work when it can be communicated to like public? So if you say like you discover like the cure to HIV today, right? I mean, you won't come and just tell me that like, oh, Michael, it's got HIV. I'm like, okay. And I mean, you can't just come and just tell me like, oh, I have done this. I won't even like answer you. I won't take you serious. Why? Because you're not communicating like the work, right? So publishing is just a means where you communicate all of your hard work that you've done, right? Like communicate it to like the broader scientific field, right? So more of like you spend 4 or 5 months in the lab working, getting results, getting data, and then of what use is data you get when you can like properly like communicate like the results you get to like the broader like scientific like field. So publishing is just like a way where you communicate all your hard work of 5, 6 months or 7 months of research like into like proper like readable like content for that people can easily understand. I know then back in maybe for secondary school when I tried to do jump or secondary school when I tried to do jump, right? I'll be like, oh, once I have like 90 in physics, chemistry, and mathematics. If I get 60 in English or 50 in English, anything goes. So I used to count English as my core strength, like back in secondary school, right? I'll be like, okay, let me just do the 80s, 90s, like in sciences, and just get like anything in English, anything I get, I get to. I cannot keep myself. But by the end, right, like I later realized, I mean, at some points in my career that like I can't do without like knowing how to write. I can't do that like I must write. I can't escape it, right? I must know how to write. I must know how to talk, right? So like writing was like now a core part of me, or else like my all my labors in it will never be relevant. So the way you communicate, like all the work you do in the lab, all the oh, I sleep over the lab, I do everything is what is true like this random papers like what you see here. And one thing that I know is like, if you want to do research, you can't escape writing. You write, like you write grants. In fact, your life is writing. You write, you just keep writing. You write grants, write everything, write like papers, write and write and write and write. So writing is just a skill that would make you survive, like in the academic world. And it's not just about academic world, right? Because even in the industry, like you get to write, like you write a lot, right? And some of those things they can't they can't wait. So let me give an example, right? So like say a manager, you have like 10 people under you, and then midterm review, say you should review like their performance midterm. You won't just say, Ade is a good boy, he works well. You want to give like detailed stuff, right? And they give it a timeline for it. So you're under like pressure to like write about 10 different people working under you in just like probably 3, 4 days. And then if you're not already efficient at like the work you do, how much you write, like you still like you have issues, right? So even if you say you want to go into industry, like you can't escape like the act of writing. And this is not just about like writing compositions, writing like um writing essays or writing how to be a millionaire or writing how I spent my last holiday, this kind of commission essays we write. So these are like technical writing, right? I mean, there's a way you could write as like, as a person that I know that like you don't really know the language of what you're saying. You just trying to just put some things together and just trying to like make sense of things you put together. So something that you set at the back of your mind is that like what I'm doing research, I'm doing industrial anything. I can't escape it. I have to know how to write. I have to write. You can't escape it. There's no running away. There's no turning back or something like you can't escape it. You have to like learn how to write. So the thing is like, okay, if I pick a piece of work, so the thing is like if I pick a piece of work as a researcher, what do I care about? I'm talking from a reviewer point of view. So like say I pick a piece of paper, right? I mean, if I'm to criticize this like as a reviewer, the first thing I check is like, okay, what's special? I mean, you said you discover like maybe you said you like discover the cure to HIV or something. That's unique. Everybody knows that's groundbreaking. But like, okay, so you say like you're able to like let me put something like said you're able to like produce fuel from waste and then you want to publish about it. Then I ask myself, like, some people have done it before. Not that why I work is special. Why should I like contribute like your like I want to jargon, right? Why should I like be repetitive with knowledge, right? Why should I like contribute the things that every other person have done before into the new field? It's not adding anything new. So it's not relevant. Like it doesn't contribute anything new. So I mean, and this is where you design like a project with a publishing aspect in mind, right? So if your work or if your written piece of write-up does not like contain something like novel, like the novelty of your work, then like no researcher would want to like add it to their publication or something. The second thing is okay, does it contribute to the field? Okay, if you say, okay, I'm trying to like produce waste to fuel. Okay, now everybody has explored like different kind of waste. Me, I'm exploring like waste from like organic fertilizer waste or something. People have done that before, but now me, I'm using something new method that nobody has used to do that. Maybe that might be your own new thing. Okay, people now know that okay, if I use this new method, I can get this waste converted to fuel. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something big. It's just more of like you might find that small gap. That every other person have done this, but like they all use this, but me, I'm using this other way, right? So like that might be the only thing that you're adding, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be something big, but you must what? You must add something new. Because adding something new, if you not add anything new, that means you're not the work is not useful. I mean, I'll just say that I'll just be blunt, right? So, if you said, okay, now you have a work, it's something new. Say you produce HIV, you produce cancer like drugs or something that works. Okay, they ask you the method you said you use, is it like scientifically valid? Like, does it like obey the normal laws of sciences, or like even if it's arts or like or humanities, right? Does it obey like, is it like standardized like kind of like technique used like, in your data collection process and the rest? And is it repeatable? So you tell me that like, oh, you produce like a cancer drug and it's working for Nigerians, and they bring it here and try to like synthesize the same drug, and it's not going to like work here. Like, I mean, that means like you're adding something, or the thing is not real. So you must, that's why like you see like in papers, they'll tell you, oh, what's the uncertainty level of your work? What's the accuracy level of your instrumentation or something? Start asking about like those kind of things. What's the certainty level, like how accurate is this? What's the percentage variation? Start asking for some like statistics or something, right? Or if you say, oh, everybody in Nigeria is black, maybe you're looking at probably from the north or something, or something. But that statement is wrong. I mean, you're probably right, but like it's not like currently correct because there was some like variations that is not right. So like if this is missing in your work, then like nobody would care. So the thing is like, are there any other limitations to your work? Are there any concerns or assumptions that like we should be aware of? So if anything you write doesn't like contains like, you can't tell me your work is perfect. There's no limitation. There's no nothing. No, I can never agree with that. And for me, when I review papers, I ask them, what's the limitation to this? Like, what should we be aware of? So like you must the paper must conclude that like, I mean, the body, the interaction of people, like you must be able to find this. And they also ask, like, okay, now you said you've done this, right? Are there ways that you can suggest that, like, can improve what you've done? So, like, in your write-up, like, you must think as a suggestion, like, okay, like, what are, like, avenue for, like, further improvement, right? So, if your piece of research writing or technical writing is missing all of this, it has no chance to, like, in fact, like for me, so this is kind of interesting. I shouldn't say this actually, but I'll say it. For me, this is what I do when I review, right? So if I see that like the work has passed the basic checks that I think in my mind, right? I just kind of scan through, then that's when I'll pay attention to it and actually read it, because I don't want to read a 30-page work and then like it's arguments and I'll tell them to reject it. But if I see that it's missing like a core thing, and the core thing is something I can like compensate for, I just write a one long paragraph statement that like, this work, and I've done that a lot. This work is this and this and this, is void of this and this and this. I'll criticize a lot. And then right, like, I'll say test that it's not worthy of publication, should be rejected. I'm going to just say it that way. And I'm going to like put a lot of supporting evidences and say like just one paragraph. And I won't don't start with just read all of the work. Why? It's missing like a key piece. So, but if it's part of this, that's when I can now say, oh, let me give like detailed feedback. But if you do not, I don't have the time to like be reading like things that I know like probably like other people will also criticize or something. And that's been my own technique to like getting my review done very fast or something. If I see that like the work is not relevant, I'm just going to like bring a very strong statement and tell the editor like this is not good and criticize. So like in any of your writing, if your writing is void of this, then like you shouldn't even try to publish it, because like you might have a lot of back and forth with like stubborn reviewers like me. I'm just joking. So like so first that happens is like, oh, what do we write on? Like, okay, so you write. So like what are the major things we write on? Um okay, I think I'm going to slow down, right? We write on like new original results. So if you got a new result from the lab, it's new, it's novel, it tick all of the boxes that I mentioned before, right? Then you can write on it. They call that like original research article. And then like you're trying to like report original work. And other thing is that like say like, oh, Sir Philip has reported that this and this and this works and it's a new study. Another person from like University of maybe like London University in Sweden is reporting the same thing. Another person is reporting the same thing, like something else or something, right? So like they're not like new knowledge in the field, right? So you can write like a single paper just to consolidate all of the new knowledge in the field. So I'm gonna call it like state of the art review. You see work like advances in this. These are new advances. These are new stuff that new progress that have been made, right? And you say, okay, these are new progress that have been made. These are new advances, right? So you call it like reviews. And for that, like it's a review paper doesn't mean it shouldn't be novel. I mean, it has to be novel actually because like you can say, oh, there have been other reviews on this and this, but none of them has reported this, 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 and this. But me, in my own review article, I'm covering this, and this, and this. So I still miss novelty. So like the fact that like, it's a review article doesn't mean that like it shouldn't like tick all the boxes that I mentioned like earlier. And one other thing you have to like probably take note of it is that like the other like writing, like the probably some technical like reports, they're like commentaries from like senior researchers. I mean most of us at this level, like we'll probably just be doing like research articles and review articles, but the level you get in academia, they're like where like people would invite you to come and give like comments, like commentaries or editor's notes, or those kind of things, right? Like it takes a lot of time to get to those kind of stages. So it takes a lot of time to get to that kind of stage. Um, so I would say like, but for now, like the major focus you'll be doing as an illustrator is what we'll join search article and review article. Um, so I know it went up very fast. So I know like a lot of things that come to mind of people is like, oh, I don't even know how to write. Oh, like how do I start from? Oh, like this is a lot of work. Oh, they're expecting like that something pages of write up from me. I'm writing textbook. Oh, like they are trying to like I mean, oh, writing is like hard. I don't know how to write. I don't know how to speak chemical. For me, my advice is like so one thing I do when I was in UI is like I mean the way I wrote my project is that like I just stay in a cab or something or I'm doing something else like I start typing my phone on my notepad, like this and this. Like so I just write it very, very rough, like small, write like 2 sentence, 3 sentence, 4 sentence. For other people that I know of, my friends, right, they want to just pick their laptop and just for 4 5 hours. Can I do that? Yes, but do I want to do that kind of thing? No. Like I'll probably write it like in small chunks, small chunks. I wake up in the morning, I pick up my phone, I write like one paragraph. That's it for me. I can over the lunch, I can also like pick my phone. My phone is very useful actually. Write another one paragraph. That's it for me. At that point, I don't even care about the grammar. I don't even care about anything. I don't even care. I'm just writing, right? Even though it's rough, even the grammar is wrong. And now we're actually spoiled with AI. I'll say, even if grammar is wrong, I don't care. I just keep writing. I just keep writing. I just keep writing. So when it's time, I don't like consolidate everything I've written into just like a report and not try to like now fine tune it. So you don't have to like be serious and pick your laptop and just say, now I want to write and just start typing. No, you can do it like in small chunks. And that's really helped me when it comes to like getting my work done as someone who do a lot of academic writing. So one thing is your first thing will never be perfect. Start anyhow. I mean, Ade is a boy, he goes to school, clinical. Even if it's that rough, write it. I mean, that's the thought. That's the idea, right? Um, I mean, give yourself some grace. Don't say, oh, I want to like make it so technical at the first. Don't write anything. I even jargon write it because at the end, right? Like, so the probability that your first work will be the one that will actually end up getting published, or your first writing will be the final version of your writing is 5%. I would say it's not. No, you would edit and edit and edit and edit. So why should I wait till like I get a perfect thing to write on? Just write it anyhow. Like write jargon anyhow. Don't care. I mean, at some point you will fine tune it, right? I mean, like just keep getting the words in, keep getting the number in, keep getting the number of words in, right? Now I've written 50 words, now I've written 100 words, now I've written 150 words, now I've written 200 words. Um like that's the way to just get it done. Not until like you now go and learn how to do grammar, composition, and all of those things, or go and learn Concord. Um, but I would say like if you're doing research writing, if there's anything you want to learn, when it comes to writing, I'll say like learn Concord. Like I mean, if you have the time, right? I mean, like that topic of Concord in secondary school, like really help. Um, really help actually. But like you don't have to know Concord to write. I mean, your writing can just like be random, like can be rough, and it's fine. It's not a sin. You didn't offend anybody. And one thing you should also know at the back of your mind is that like your first draft will be very, very bad. It might be the worst thing that you would ever do. Your first write-up, right, will be the bad write-up, right? Um, in fact, like for me, right, I mean, maybe at this stage, I probably like we don't want to like get rejections from the reviewer, but everybody's get rejection anyways. but like, I would say like you should give yourself some grace. Say like you write the first paper, you think it's perfect to you, submit it, and they have a lot of criticism on it. Just have the back of your mind that I said, oh, my first write-up might be always bad. So for me, what I'll just do is what I'll just, I mean, never give up, right? I'll just take one of the comments used to improve and just send it back, right? Because I know that like the first version is not never good. It's never ever good. It's always rough, right? Until like probably go through a lot of like a lot of things. So, I mean, my presentation looks so basic, but then I'll probably go more technical very soon and probably like show you a lot of things. So like you have results from the lab, you want to write stuff, and I say, how do I start writing something? For me, one thing that helps me is like I use like my mind is like a map, right? I create a story in my head, and the story would probably so say I have something to write. I want to just pick my laptop and just start writing like dumbly or something, right? Even if I have all the results. Then one thing I first do is like, okay, I have done my teacher review, done all of those things, right? So I create a story in my mind. I'm trying to tell a story, right? So I think like trying to tell a story. So okay, I'm trying to tell a story. Okay, and the story must contain novelty. I must show my literature gap. I must show the gap I'm trying to cover in my writing. I must show. I know you've done because I've done like a session on literature review and all those things. I must show like my research gaps I'm trying to cover. I must conclude so well. I must do this. I must do that. That. Then I start mapping out. Oh, okay. So say I'm working on biodiesels. Like, why should people care about biofuels? I mean, why should people care about biofuels? I'll just be like, oh, even if like biodiesel produce like a lot of NOx, all of the EPA and these people they don't like NOx, right? But the customers said they want this. I mean, people that use it said they want this kind of fuel. So like I'm just trying to create a story in my head, right? And the story I'm creating is like I'll be so I would have the thing mapped out as a story, like write it out as a story before I before I start picking up my pen. So I like flowchart, right? So once I have the flowchart kind of like done, that's when I start like picking my pen, right? So something I call like scholarly voice, right? Like there's a way like the there's a way like someone a newscaster or a journal reporter in Nigeria or a news reporter in Nigeria will write, oh, there's a wedding in Ibadan, Nigeria. The bride danced so well, and as reported by the our agent on the field, they saw like there was a lot of meat and rice, and all those things. There's a way, right? But like, there's also a way that like you we expect like you to write when it comes to the academic audience or something. You must be clear. I mean, you can't. Okay, you can't say. How do I put it? You must be clear and blunt at times, right? So say like um say like Ade is a boy. That's a clear statement. Everybody know. Ade is a boy. There's nothing arguing about it. But like another person can say like it is obvious that Ade is a boy. Is that complemented by this and this and this? I mean, just kind of tell a long story, bro. Like all what you're saying is what Ade is a boy. Michael attachment 25. Full stop. Don't tell like. I mean, for me, don't go like if I can use like 10 words to convey an information. I don't want people to now like read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to 20 words and still get the same information from these words that they are reading. So like I probably prefer to use that like 10, 5 words, something, right? Um, you must be precise. Um, that's what that kind of like align with what you said. I must be unbiased. Okay, so say like okay, this happens a lot in my field, right? For me, I do. For me, I don't believe in. I don't like electric vehicles. I believe like I mean. my personal opinion, I believe like there is scam in a way because like you tell me like you're trying to like do like no zero, I mean like net zero like carbon emissions, right? You're not emitting anything. Good, you're right. But then on the later end, right, you carry your electric vehicle. How do you charge the electric vehicle? You charge like with the grid. How is the grid powered? With coal. So if you're charging like you're using the energy that you used to charge from the grid to power your electric vehicle. So the source is from the grid, right? And the grid's powered by coal. So like your vehicle is still run by coal. For me, I don't agree with that, right? But then if I'm writing, then I wouldn't go and put my biased view, like in my write-up and say this this is this. That's just me bias. I'm being put this year or something, right? But like I'll just say like, okay, so you have to actually cite sources, right? And say like, oh, um, as reported by this and this, they concluded in their work after getting all of this results, they're like, electric vehicle may not be and this. So like my personal like intent is not showing what I'm writing, right? My own personal like intentions like is not showing. It's not it's not kind of evident in what I'm writing. So like you want to be very unbiased, and then and that leads us to like you have to like cite all your sources. You don't just say, oh, water is bad for the environment. Why? Water causes flooding. Maybe because like the person had a flooding event that probably like kind of make him lose his or something. You want to be so like unbiased, like you're not attaching any emotions to what you're writing. You're not a creative writer, I would say. Creative writer are the one that just out of inspiration. Oh, this is my biased view of what I think life is. Sometimes life is gentle when it's meant to be gentle. Life is hard when it's meant to be hard. I write all of this poem and the rest. You're not a creative writer, you're taking character or something. So I would be so unbiased. I it's intended for academic audience. This is not a love letter I write to our boyfriend and girlfriends or our wife and husband that it might be. I mean, for me, right, I would say like I would stay professional. I'll use was like reduce or this is reduced by this percentage. I'll use was like decrease, but I wouldn't use was like there's a word you can use. There's some words you can use there. Like these are not just like technical words. Um, looking for random examples. I mean, they might be English, correct English, but like they're not like technical enough, like in the sense of like um academic writing. They're just words you use like on normal day-to-day thing, and they're not like technical words. Um, what other thing you should avoid is I know Nigerians we know a lot of vocabularies and we're always trying to like put a lot of the English grammar in our writing. Bro, that's not needed at all. Like I would say, right, don't confuse your audience. Like not that the fact that you know a lot of grammar does not mean everybody in this world know grammar. So people in Europe they're doing good research. They can't even speak English like you do. They don't even know the grammar. They just have like basic communication like skills for like English or something. So you don't want to go and say, oh, Nigerians, right? Nigerians, like just go and say, I start from like the small words, right? That we think it's small, but it's not actually small. Um, oh, I mean this happened and this happened like I would say simultaneously. Some people say concomitantly or something. I'm not used to all those kind of things, but like in a way, I feel like don't tone down on it. You don't need all of those like things to pass your message or something, right? And you also need to use evidence to support your claims. You don't just kind of you don't just kind of like in a way like just say this without like kind of supporting that with an evidence. So why does it matter to write in scholarly way? Number one, it makes work credible. So like that means the work is not biased. Like you could trust it, right? Your work is free of like you just kind of saying things without like backing it up with evidence, right? It's kind of established credibility to your work. So even if you're in like Jalingo in Nigeria, right? A professor in Harvard can just say, oh, with what this is written, like I think this work is credible enough because of like what it writes, right? It demonstrates like you're professional and also like makes people like I mean it makes you clear and less misunderstood. People don't kind of like misunderstand like what you write. So like Now I'm going like much more like into what I have. How do I avoid bias? Now I think I'll probably need our participation in this, right? Um, Look at this slide. Family is very important to the Hispanic population in the US. Um, I know like there's an answer there, but is there anybody that can just look at that statement and tell me like why they think it's biased? I guess with me. Can anybody just look at the statement, right? So family is important to everybody in the US, right? I mean to the Hispanic population in the US. So why do they think um why do you think like this is a biased statement and not like an unbiased statement?
Probably because there is no source supporting it or data supporting it.
That's true. That's true. I agree. Thank you, Sunday. Do anybody want to like like also give it a try? Okay. I think nobody's talking. I just probably just like stop. So I would say like yes, Sunday is right, but some other thing that you have to consider is like context matters. So if you say like family is important to the Hispanic population in the US. So like the question is like you're not even giving any room for like okay how were these people trained? What are the age differences of people you're looking on? How does I mean you can't just kind of you're not giving like any room for like for like context, right? So if you say okay, family is important to like Hispanic population in the US, and you kind of say like in a way, especially those people that like in a way probably like they are. If you say family is important to like the undivorced Hispanic population people in the US, can see like say okay, this is probably like a more correct statement. But in Hispanic population in the US, you probably, I mean, I'm very sure there'll be less divorces among them. I'm very sure, but there will still like, be some. I mean, so you're not giving room for anything. You're just kind of making a statement or something, which might not be totally like true. I might be wrong. Something like in the wrong year. I mean, it doesn't look wrong, right? It looks like fine and furnished, but you're actually wrong because you're not giving any context. You're not, and this is like a generalization. It's not everybody that likes family, even if they're, okay, you say like, oh, every youth in Nigeria is chasing after money. That's true. Like most youth in Nigeria are chasing after, I won't say every youth, most youth in Nigeria are chasing after money. But if you say like most youth of like age between 18 to like 27, they're all looking after like money. That's probably more correct. Okay, if you don't say most youths coming from like a very struggling background between age 18 to 27 are all looking for money after Nigeria. But that's more correct. Oh, most youths coming from this background with this age and then like not having access to education, they are like looking for money in Nigeria. Telling me that's more true. So it's more like the more you give context to like what you're trying to say, like the more correct you are, and the less you can be attacked or you can be criticized. So look at this. Okay, according to Watson, that gives back to what Sunday said, right? Like just cite, you can't just kind of mention, right? Family is important to like the 47% of the Hispanic families in urban Indiana. This looks much more correct because what it gives a lot of context. There's a lot of like much more details in it. So let's try one more or two more actually. I have like all of this. My daughter texts constantly, which shows teenagers use cell phone more than they did in the past. This is biased, right? But why is it biased? Does anybody want to give it another try? There's something actually on the slide, but does anyone want to try like give it a try?
Yeah, this looks like a generalization bias using your daughter to judge the old teenagers.
Relation. Yeah, that's true. And the question is, okay, why should I even bring my own personal perspective into like a technical like write-off? And that's some of the mistakes like we make when we start kind of writing, right? So you say like, um, not just anything that has with, I mean, matter is anything that has with of white space. Energy is the ability to like do work. Right? Those are what we've been told, right? But then like so like I mean unconsciously you're just trying to like write what you've been told into this without actually like kind of verifying fact. What if like some researchers in the US have said, okay, that definition of matter is no longer correct or something. Now you're just kind of putting your own personal perspective. I don't these are right definitions, but you're putting your own personal perspective into like things that like you've not I mean if I checked it, you know it, but then like I can say you're wrong and then I can criticize you like badly and then you are sorry, what's this? Okay. You actually think you're wrong, but you're not actually wrong. Something you're actually right. So look at this. As I've seen with my own daughter, teenagers' use of cell phones, especially for testing, has increased by 30% last 2 years and cited. This is like just more correct. I mean, it gives context. Although it's correcting with my daughter has something right, but it's not saying that like, oh, because of my daughter this and this. Oh, I've also like confirmed it with my daughter, like I said. Although you won't write personal things like in when you write like for papers, right? But like that just kind of shows like some other way. Look at this. I surveyed elderly adults while collecting data. Look at this. I surveyed participants between the age of 70 and 84 while collecting data. It's same thing, but then like this looks more credible than this because they are like it's more specific. It's not just kind of like random or something, right? It's more specific. Look at this. Okay, now so I have this. Our exercise actually, I mean, I was trying to like make this engaging, right? So, does anyone want to? I want somebody else offer for Sunday. Does anyone want to like kind of like like revamp this statement like in a more like scholarly like voice way or something? These are all scholars, right? Does anyone want to like give it a try, or should I come back to it after we're done with the whole thing? Even if you type it, like that's also fine. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'll probably just see if I can come back to it. And um okay. Now I'll go through like this very fast. Like I'm probably like don't want to slide when I can now probably like show you some of the things I do on a personal like basis. So like point of view, right? Like I mean you use a lot of pronouns when writing, you use like this and this and this. You use the first person like pronoun, third person pronoun, second person pronoun. But like you really see in the thinker write up, you really see people talk about like you, your, like the second person pronoun, right? You rarely see this like kind of happen, but you can say like, oh, in your methodology, you can say like, oh, we we did this and this and this and this and this. Oh, in the work of this and this and this, they did this and this and this and this. But you won't see a lot of yourself, like when it comes to like, and this sounds like an English class right now. But you won't see a lot of like this, right? You see more of the first person and third person pronoun. Like this is just some of the it's first you have to be careful of. I think I'll just go quick. Citations, right? Citations can either like be parented like
Like,
parenthetical.
there's a
Oh,
comment in the chat for the question you asked.
okay, let me see. I discovered that children between the ages of 5 are obese. That's good, right? That's like more context. That's really, really like impressive. So that's just like the way like you approach the thing. Or else like you get criticized a lot. And to look at like the reviewers are like troublesome. No, they're just trying to like make you explain yourself so that people don't misunderstand you. Um, thank you, Abosende, for that. Or Mrs. Abosende or Miss Abosende for that. Um, so citations can actually be like parenthetical or like narrative. So let me give you an example, right? Oh, Jesus. Okay. So when you see like and this is probably basic. I don't know if I already know this. And there's a boy. Michael later like 2024 or something, right? Michael later 2024, but there's a boy. This is kind of like the second one strike tends to like narrate like what this work did. This is like a work. this like is a singular word. So this is like the narrative like intercitation. Why this is like parenthetical, right? Like Alice a boy, this and this and this. Um, so you see this like these people argue that. So this is like now you consider this as like a single noun, right? So this work argued that this is like narrative. This is like what's it called? Let me use Lisa. Uh, so this is narrative. This is parenthetical. Like this is like parenthetical. Like, so you should have like parenthetical and narrative stuff. And at times, if you lift a word from a text, you have to probably like put it in quotation. Probably like if you, I mean, it's not always necessary for most of like just have saying, right. And you don't want to lift any word in text, right? So like you um I mean, some people do that, but which is fine, right? So like how to avoid plagiarism, right? When you're studying about what you do, I know you do a lot of papers and the rest. I take notes. I than source and the authors, I have it in mind, right? I do. I think I should get some of the rough work I do. Might look rough, but I'm not sure. I'll probably show you. Um, as I was writing, right, I include all citation. I paraphrase using my own words. So the fact like you said somebody doesn't mean that like you should still copy their work. That's like copy like you'll be caught. So I change the words, I change sentence structure, I change something. So if I directly quoted a source, I include page number, I use that blog post or something, right? If I use any previous content that I wrote, you have to cite yourself. It's not like you wrote something like in one of the papers, doesn't mean that like if you are using some of those like then you have to paraphrase it, you have to also recite. And after you finish writing, you have to do a lot of check, right? I checked on it in. I read through my draft and ensure that all material came from sources. I used the Torrenting report. Torrenting is the software that I used to like check how much copy you've done. So there's a law, you cannot copy anybody. Like copy. Um I think I must have missed a slide or something. Yeah, you cannot copy anyone. You cannot just like copy anyone. You have to do it. And one thing I also do from practical level, right? I mean, I also like let AI work for you in a very ethical way. Don't go and say like, oh, ChatGPT write all of these things for me, right? So one thing I do is like, oh, after I finished writing my thoughts on my phone, all those random sources, right? I just put it together. I tell ChatGPT like, okay, like correct grammar, like okay, make coherent. Like I just give like specific like instruction or make more technical. That's better than for you to just say, oh, ChatGPT, write about the introduction of oh, this and this. So that way, like, you can have your grammar checked. And it's not like you should also like kind of leave all the dash in ChatGPT and just leave it or something. You can also like make up for that and the rest. And you can also like make up for those and you can also like in a way like get like probably more correct and taking correct up. So I won't say you shouldn't use AI for your stuff, but like can you use AI to like paraphrase? Maybe like paraphrase is for me, paraphrase is for me, paraphrase. But it's like your own original thought, not like somebody else's idea or AI editing idea that you don't even fact checked something. So to reference, for me, like I would never recommend any like I would never recommend any referencing that's not like a software. I won't tell you to do your reference manually because like you can't be so careful. You won't be so careful. I mean, how do I say it? You can't be overly. I mean, it's because it's a lot of work. You will miss like 59 for 60. You will miss citation, right? So use like a reference software like Mendeley. I can show you Zotero. I'll probably show you like how to go about that. I can use Mendeley, Zotero, and all of those things. I basically use Zotero personally, right? That's what I've been using from since 2022. I learned how to do it, and it really works for me. So like that's the basic things I have like as an introduction. Like so before I go to like probably don't have a lot of time. So before I go to like showing things, right? Does anyone have like any question or we all understand?
All right. Thank you for the presentation. And if you have any question now is the time. All right, go ahead, Ibe.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, the facilitator for tonight. Thank you for the presentation, which is well understood. But my challenge with writing, let me say, recently I conducted a survey, and as a result, so I started writing. But lo and behold, I got stuck at the time. Why? Because I couldn't really get enough referencing based on the work done to justify or to buttress the work done. That's number one. Number two is on issue of, don't mind this, my daughter that is talking. So sorry.
It's fine. It's fine, sir.
The other aspect now is the issue of plagiarism and the likes. Especially I'm into agric, agronomy, soils, and crop management. I find out that even using my own original word, there are some words that are those I don't know how to still probably paraphrase or turn it around again. Like when you're dealing with issue of number of leaves, plant height, stem guards, all these, or probably you're looking at the um, chemical analysis, maybe the nitrogen level, the phosphorus content, and the like. So I recently made a review, and I submitted that article for plagiarism check. And lo and behold, almost about 80% of what I wrote was more or less like plagiarism. Oh, I was just discouraged that how will I do this kind of work again. So since then, I must tell you the truth. I just abandoned it. I've not touched it again. So how do I go about with this issue of plagiarism check and the likes, even when you have used your own word? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think I'll answer, but I'll probably like also like kind of like try to get Mr. Phillips like perspective right, Dr. Phillips perspective right. So say like you're trying to like write something and then like you can't find like something to justify it. So like I mean the original intent is like be clear, like you don't so be clear. So like I'll say two things right. I could say um let me open my notepad. I could use words like don't mind me. Okay, don't mind me. Like I could use words like okay. While there are no like why there's a like I have word right. And I say why like mm, study focusing on like reporting this or focusing on this and that and that or focusing on nematodes nematode like diseases. I might be wrong, scientifically wrong. Um, then I look for the closest thing that is close to it. They're like, okay, um, Adebayo at like 2024. Um, so you see, I'm not kind of talking about like this again. Reported that um like plants I mean that like sea animals are more affected by viral disease. Or I could say viral diseases. Um or I could say pardon my oh Jesus, what's this? Wait a minute. Um so like or I could say um or I could say send most of uh, or like the review conducted by this person generally confirm the that has not been advances, like there's less of advances, like advances um in diseases affecting sea animals. Um so like more of like try to let them know that like there's not a lot of work that has done this. Like and I've had to do cases like that, right? But like you won't be the only first person that would. I mean, there'll be something that's so close. There's no way. There'll be something that's very close. Like it might not be the exact thing you're looking for, but it's close to it, right? Then I'll just kind of say, okay, there's not a lot of thing in this, but this is the closest thing I could find to it, and then put it that way. So like, and that closest thing, like, it's not like it's also should be far off, right? But it's close enough that like, oh, did I understand that like this is what the person is saying? And it's also not putting my personal, like the stuff is not personal. It's not like personal there. But I won't say there's not a lot of work, but this is it. Now I won't say that. Like, but I will say like this and this and this. Maybe if I don't see evidences from my own study, I can say, oh, these are more evidences from my own study, and these are like this and this and this and this and this. And this kind of make up for the gap of where there's no lot of work. Now I've connected three things together. So this one now makes up for the gap of no, there's no little in this, there's no citation or something, but like I've introduced like new knowledge into it. So like tell them that like there's no lot of work there, but like this is the closest thing to like this. And this is one of the ways I've approached this kind of issues. And one other thing you can also do, I mean, so like for the second question, uh I'm looking for like I think I forgot. It's about review, right? Okay, I understand what you're talking about. For some question, you said like even after you've revised everything and you still have like high plagiaristic content, that's so strong actually. Like, but that happens a lot when you're trying to like write review articles. If you're writing original research articles, you probably like be like clocking less than. I mean, general rule of thumb is like less than 20%. 20% is a lot. I'll be honest with you from a reverse standpoint of view. And if I am to live that kind of work, it takes like God to minister to my mind to just let it pass. I wouldn't like just being honest. So one thing, I mean, some things are like fact checked. They're like hard fact. They're like nobody would question. These are like established facts like in the field. But you don't want to see. Can I call out this? You don't want to see. You don't want to see like this is turning to put all of this as read, like a whole two, three paragraphs as read, one paragraph read, two paragraph read, three paragraph read, third paragraph read, and all the rates are coming from just one source. To see like each chunk of words like that's read come from one source. If you see like, oh, this is read, this is Jerry's A, it's not read, but this is like read, this is J clinical, is not read, right? I mean, but you don't want to say, oh, like a whole chunk of what is read and they all come from, and I think tell sources, right? They come from sources. I mean, if I see that, then I know like the person needs to like do more work in making their stuff like much more like novel or like. And there's also a place of you putting your own personal, not personal thoughts. There's also, I mean, in reviews, there's also a place of you reporting and really like assessing like the whole like advances, right? So that would also like put you into like, okay, this is what they've done, which is probably like something like to catch you on, like trying to catch you on. But this is how this compares to this. So on the same, like this is how this compares to this, like you would be much more original on that side, and like the copy content will be less. So I mean, so one of the comments I pass when review is like I see people not like writing their reports, reporting out their articles, and it looks like especially in engineering, I see people just trying to like report. This is data we got. This is data we got. This is also what we got. It looks like a manual, like a technical manual of a TV, just reporting some data. There's no like they're not like trying to like contextualize their work within like the field, right? They're like, this is what we got, and this is what like this person like reported, and this completed what we got or something, right? So there's a place of even like if you're writing like review that makes you like lift a lot of words. There's a place of you like trying to like reassess, like compare, contrast, reassess, and put what's together. That would help you reduce a lot. But then if you still have 80%, then I'll say like keep pre-editing, like it wouldn't fly easily. Keep pre-editing, maybe don't use your own personal thoughts now. Go use AI to say AI like rephrase all of this for me, paraphrase all of this. So just keep paraphrasing, like put the paraphrase, put it, copy it, check it again. It's not pick the one you paraphrased now. Tell it as a paraphrase, the paraphrase to like you have paraphrased like 10 times. Like that's not going like paraphrasing fire. And you cannot come back. It won't look like the same. So that's one other thing I do. I paraphrase a sentence. I paraphrase a sentence. I paraphrase. I paraphrase those sentences. I paraphrase like that. It look better. So one thing I would say like to keep paraphrasing, like have like advances in paraphrasing. I also say like I was also like, don't let like Burlington report like a huge paragraph like in red and just attribute it to one source. That's a very, very big red flag. So that's the little thing I would say about that. I don't know if Mr. Philip has like contributions to that.
Yeah, I think you said majority of it. You said it all. But I didn't grab how many percentage plagiarism did you have in it? But
80%.
80%.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's
Yeah.
going to
A
be
lot.
very difficult to. Yeah, so most likely they might be coming from your literature
References
review,
too. Yeah, literature review or
literature review and
maybe like
references.
references too. Like if you had so like using Turnitin without the reference in it.
Yes.
And with reference in it, if you use with reference in it, it's always like very difficult. Like, but if you take time to that references, maybe like they'll give you some grace. So if it's catching the reference part as like the copied part, then I can still give myself some grace or something, right? I mean, I can't change the reference, I can't paraphrase reference. But if it's not the main work and it's still 80%, then that's like that needs to be improved.
Yeah. So you could look at your literature review. Probably you were copying the topic. Maybe you wanted to talk about you wanted to report the topic. Maybe Adekanbi et al. 2025 did study the effects of Jatrova on biodiesel performance, and that's how probably if they can be add that title just like the way you paraphrase it, it will definitely turn into we capture that whole
That's it.
line as
Yeah.
plagiarizing for you. So at times you need to be kind of innovative about how you report stuff like that. So yeah, it's a huge one. So like you said, I mean you have already done the big work, which is writing. Then and when you started with the introduction, your first draft is not always the perfect one, and you can always improve on it. So now you can, with a lot of paraphrasing, and now you can reduce the plagiarism level down to less than 20%. That is kind of acceptable. I hope that answers your question.
Uh, I think so. I don't know, like, but if person has follow-up question, person can also like ask. But let me see if I can answer this next question, right? This person say like, oh, your school has a specific reference style, neither APA nor MLA. Okay. I mean, I'll be interested to know the name of the school. But one thing I've seen, experience with schools, like even you would say like they have a reference style. UI's reference style is like UI doesn't have their own reference style. UI just is just copying Harvard's reference style and you claim it as them. Yeah, so like so I remember UI, okay, then it's fine. I've handled this before. I remember then when I was in UI, like they claim they have a reference style, right? So one thing I was able to verify is like UI uses Harvard reference style. Like I mean, so like they're already like reference style that are accepted by everybody. So UI wouldn't just I mean, because the work UI writes is not just misapprehended in UI, like it's probably accepted outside of UI. So like those guys, most schools don't have a specific their own. I mean, they can claim it to be specific, but like they're adopting somebody else's like reference now. So like I think the work there is to like figure out okay, what's this person adopting? Like UI is advice. I can tell you, I can tell you that one for sure. I know in the humanities, right? Like they do some like especially if it like English, because I have someone in English that's close to me, right? They have some like some I'll call it like I don't know, I won't use a bad word here. There are some unreasonable things when citing that doesn't make sense to like the outside world. To the outside world, right? Like again, like you just need to like find like the style that your school's adopting from the general reference styles, which is like Harvard, right? That's what UI does adopt, and then like stick to Harvard reference style. Yeah, in English. Okay. Now I think I have a lot of experience in this. So like I have someone close to me that left the Department of English. That was like last year. So I could tell you, and there was a lot of like back and forth with one of the lecturers there. Like it was like she was wanting like you to say. I mean, was it the way they put it? She was wanting you to just like she was wanting like her to just like kind of say, oh, don't use Bolade et al. Use Bolade comma Ade comma Ola comma this and this and this and this. Like a lot of citation in something. I don't know how that works. So for me, I was just saying like one thing I think we did in our ethos was like not the end goal of your work. The end goal of your work is not your audience, right? It is like the end goal of your work is not your audience. It is like probably international audience, right? Then write your project. Use the project work now. Write your project such a way that like um you first probably use the referencing style that you have. Now kind of edit the references itself, citation itself to include everything that you're asking for. So like anything gives you idea tau, let it be there, right? Then you now go and tell that idea tau, you now like probably edit it to like suit what they want in UI, right? And just something for your project's sake. So after like you are done, you want to publish this stuff, just make it fall off. Like just just fall it off and go back to like the normal like stuff that like you have, right? So that was what worked for me for us, like when we're trying to do that. So I would say like yeah, that's a complicated case, and I've had that case like and it's close to me. But like I would say just like edit the stuff. Turn it to, I mean the manager will give you like a day at 2025. I mean, put it there, then edit the data 2025 to like suit what they have, and have like almost like double copy. And then once you are done with UI stuff, because at the end, like UIs wouldn't, and some of the process in English, like I would say like they're just writers. They don't, I don't think like they don't know a lot about research, right? But like they are writers, right? So if you want to like really work on potential audience, then just go like after you're done with your project and submit and you passed, and you want to publish your work, just make it fall off, like fall it off, like that's what you do. I don't know if that helps.
I think if there is a name for that referencing style, you may be surprised to see that name
So like
on the.
they don't have a name.
You don't have a name,
Yeah,
then
I,
too
I,
bad.
I, I- I've worked on it like with my person before, like, and that was like I was even like kind of surprised that like why they doing this or something, right? And the person was like, if she doesn't do it that way, like if she wants something, I was like, okay, just listen to the person, get it done. And after like it was done, we just fell it off, and that was what we did. Um, I understand
Yeah,
you actually.
yeah. I think you've already answered that. Look for the closest one, and then
Just
it will,
edit.
because if you are to cite up to 200 papers in your project, doing that manually is a punishment when you can spend the
Use
time
this.
on something much more useful than the citation itself.
And the only thing you actually edit is the in-text citation, not the references. Is the one in the in-text. That's what you edit. That's what you will make you edit. I mean, the Department of English in UI. I know mechanical. They don't do those. That's what they will make you edit, and that's what they would ask you for. To edit, right? So the references will be there, arranged, well arranged, right? You just ask them, go and edit the inner things, and that one like within like 3 hours or four, you should be able to like get that done easily. I'm sorry, like that's just like the school we attended. Yeah, there's
All
one
right.
person trying to raise their hand.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I want to ask a question around introduction parts and research writing. I understood that, of course, the methodology or the discussion part is based on what I've done in the lab. And writing that is much easier because the formulation of sentences, it's based on what I've done. So I will be able to articulate that. But when it comes to introduction, which is more of literature review as well, the challenge I've been having is trying to build a story because I love to write in story format. Like I want to build a case, not that I'll just start from according to so in 1992. I don't like that style of writing. I like to build a case. But my main question is, if I'm reviewing, let's say, a 10 paper for that, and what I really want from those people are being said in their own introduction part. How can I make it? How can I reference that? Because I learned that in writing, we should uh, write about their discussion or their results, not on their introduction. So I don't know if you can help to clarify that part.
Okay. I thought you're trying to say, right? Like you're trying to like write your own story, build up the
Yeah.
stuff, and then trying to like, but then like you're trying to use other person's idea, and you're trying to use their result, which is fine and acceptable, and which is something good, right? So like, I'll give like an example. Um, UI is rigid. Full stop. The work of
I'm not from UI.
oh, I'm trying
Actually,
to like okay, where
I'm
are you
not
from?
from here. I'm actually based in Europe, but I just want to, get some insight because I faced I faced a little bit of challenge here, and when I read a lot of journals written in Europe
Yeah.
specifically, I could see that they don't have the style we use in Nigeria, like using according to blah blah blah. They actually formulate their own words, though they reference the authorities, but you reading it, you know that okay, this thing is being written by the author. So that's the major difference I've seen as a gap between the writing style in Europe and the writing style in Nigeria.
Mm. I, I actually understand what you're trying to say, right? So like I said, right? So I was my saying UI was just trying to like pass an example. So look at this, right? Like look at all of these like statements. These engines they've established themselves to like be dominant power source due to their like superior thermal efficiency, this and this. Trust me, like this, all of these words, like they are my like they're like from like my own original like words and ideas, right? And those have been kind of confirmed. I mean, that's like basic knowledge in the field. Everybody knows this. And other people have reported this. Other people have reported this, and it's a well-known stuff. But like I wrote it like from scratch myself, without even looking at somebody's stuff. But I have like 30 like citations to, like back up like all of these words um stuff, right? So it's not like you can write stuff on your own, or you directly need to like lift. Or let me give it another like contrasting example. Um, um, okay. Additionally, the this and 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 this. Yeah. For example, right? This, this, and an earlier study by this and this and this and this and this, right? This all of this is still directly connecting to like this like statement, right? So it's not like you can't directly use somebody else's result. Like I mean, not use somebody else's, not you can't directly like kind of like report somebody else's result. It depends on how you do it. Can you just choose to like do it this way? Talk about your stuff in your own mind, right? Talk about like your own mind, like just about your own mind based on its established mind, right? And I kind of supported that, like, okay, as seen in the work of this and this and this and this, they reported this. Like this is what they reported, right? This study also demonstrated that and so all of this is complementing like all your own words that you've talked about like in the first place. So like it's kind of still like kind of like complementing it. So it's like yeah. So like now this is all of this is your own words. Don't will not flag it. Don't will probably pick some of these guys. But then like you have like all of this. If you look at it from a percentage like ratio level, you have all of this and this and this. So like Tony will probably like pick like a part of this, and you have it compared to the old bucket of this. So like, but if you just kind of say this and this and this and this and this and this and this, your own part is not there, something, right? Then like so the main purpose of you like even like referencing and citing is not that like you should go and like just lift and paraphrase somebody's word. It's like you should I mean, it's a story, right? Connect the story, write your own part of the story, but support the story with evidences. So it's not for you to just like now say, oh, everything I'm going to do, I have to like it has to be my own word. It has to be like the confirmed sources, which is probably true. Then, but you there's a place of you trying to like as a researcher trying to probably like criticize other people's work. They're like, oh, these other people found this and this, but this is not like confirmed in the work of this and this and this and this. So the way I see it is like if you want to probably like still like write your introduction and build it up like a story, right? So for me, okay, I'm just going to talk about like if you look at this, right, I'm going to talk about like engines, right? I know like the basic knowledge, right? About engines. I write some of those. I supported presentation. Then I'm going to talk about like their problem, knocks and PM, and those kind of things. We won't talk about like, oh, they cause these issues. I'm going to talk about like this stuff, right? All of these are still like things I'm talking about. Then I'm going to talk about like, the challenges and the rest and the rest. Now I'm going to talk about like biofuels. So like some of these contain my own like original like contributions. But then would I use so like I'll prefer to just go original contribution like backed up with like references. But I not just do references and references without like kind of having original contribution. So the goal of introduction is not for you to just like I mean you have references for everything, but it shouldn't be void of your own original idea. I don't know if this is answering your question, but it shouldn't be void of your original idea. It shouldn't be void of your own personal criticism. It shouldn't be void of your own stuff. Then like it's more of like, okay, you're telling your story, right? Or this about the fish stock, then you support it with like probably evidences. So like if you use your own original idea with it and like back up top with the claims, and now use things like, for example, as seen in the work of this and this and this and this, that way you can still like use your own story like idea, original idea, and then like but it takes a lot of like knowledge to write in that style that you're talking about. But like that's what I think. Or do you have like more like follow-up questions or like clarification or something? I'm interested to like knowing.
Yeah, like in especially when we are writing about case study, you basically writing about what have been done by
Yeah.
others. So you are just narrating it, and in such case, you have to go through proper research methodology process. But then everything you have to write must be in your own word and try to like not plagiarizing and just see through different perspective using different lens to write what has been written. So it's a little bit
It's tricky.
confusing. Yeah, very tricky.
But you can't skip it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's tricky, but then I don't think that there's a way to make it less painful. Oh, Mr. Phoebe, like, do you have a way?
Well, what I've done or what I'm doing is I just try to understand whatever they are doing and try to frame it in another way.
But like,
And
do you not take time to like understand what they're doing? Like, you don't want to
yes,
like,
yes, yes, I do. I take my time to understand what they are doing, then summarize it. But then it costs me more time. Like I'm just trying to find an efficient way to make it easier. Maybe not easier, but shorter within
it's
maybe,
painful.
yeah, spending a lot of time to just,
Do you know what I would say? Like, me, I do like the quick way to do this. I mean, so for me, right, like, I know the location where the main things are that I'm looking for. So I know the exact location where they are. So I'm not going to read all the paper, God forbid. So,
okay.
so, so I know the
So,
locations where the things are.
so which locations?
And that takes like a lot of like you'll have read review papers to know where people keep their things. But like in a way, right? I Right. If I see paper, right, I don't go through the introduction or those I don't do that. First thing I do is like go to the abstract, go to the end of the introduction. That way they will write the objective of their work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with all of the God forbid, I want that. I'll go to the end of the introduction, like the right objective of their work. Then probably just country method. I'm going to read the whole method, like set finding something there. Then I'll go to the conclusion, like, okay, what's the result and conclusion, right? And conclusion said that there's a way to just count through like exactly what I'm looking for. So I'll just pick a piece of the objective of the work that they've done, writing my work, and I'll start some of this in the abstract. Speak of the objective that I see at the end of the stuff and the uniqueness of their work, everything is always at the end of the paper. If you look at this thing, several studies have done this, others have done this. Despite this progress, I still have used notably clinical. Most of them say there's this notable scarcity of comprehensive review. Why this has been studied, um, I'm just going to example this review aims to you see it at the end of the introduction, it's mostly at the end. So once you just have that, then you then go to like probably like the conclusion and see the results. I mean, you can easily like pick the piece that you need from locations of your work. That's my own thought. Like that's what I've always done. I don't read all the paper if I'm writing.
Okay. Thank you.
So
I think
what do you
that's
think?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, writing a journal article, except you are doing something more policy related that you have to dig, see where the data is. But if it's a journal paper that you are reading and you want to use it in your work, yeah, that's through the abstract. You will see majority of what you are looking for there. Even sometimes some people can, they may have the objective specified in the abstract. So once you read the abstract, at times you may not need to go into the introduction or even the conclusion. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's possible. Read through the abstract, you may see everything you are looking for. And then if you do not see what you are looking for, then you want to see what is the specific work that they did, that the author did, and then you can see that most likely at the last paragraph in the introduction or second to the last paragraph in the introduction. Then the conclusion, if you want to see probably if you are just starting and you want to see some novelty that you can incorporate into your work, some people might have the limitation discussed in the conclusion as well,
Yeah.
and that's the only reason why I would. And then when I want to start my research properly, or when you are conducting research, some of these people that you really think that their methodology is similar to what you are trying to do. That's the only time I will look at their methodology. Apart
Yeah.
from that,
I would never.
so it's a, it's really a waste of it's not a waste of time. You might get something, but I mean to do something efficiently because you have a lot of things to do, deadline to meet. But yeah, that's the way I will approach it as well.
Yeah, like that's what I'll do. I don't know if you think of like, or do you have any other ways you can also like make our lives painful because this less painful because like this is not something like we can all avoid. Something like we'll have to like do. Do you have any other like way?
I think this is actually the best way, and except during the formation period where we want to gather thoughts, writing requires inspirations as well, where you want to gather thoughts to see how the storyline will go, how you want to build your cases, then I might be forced to like read different journals to, get some perspective before writing. But aside that,
But,
I think
but
this,
then so sorry, but then if you so there's something that you also be careful about, right? If you read other people, you get perspective, right? But then like it's your story, right? So like the uniqueness come from you like writing your story. Because it's easy to like after you read other people's perspective, then like it's easy to like now like remove the originality of your own thoughts like from it because like you have the perspective to follow. So it's your story, like you did the work. You have the reasons why you did the work. You have a lined up like background story that okay, if I ask you, oh, why did you do this? And you have like things you can tell me orally if I converse about your work, why you've done it, all of those things. So all of those things make your story right. But if you read through somebody's essay idea like and stuff, there's this kind of like your mind might easily want to sit towards that person's thing and just almost adopt like unconsciously adopt the same style. I don't know. That's just my own thought.
And initially, I thought your question was kind of centered on the starting of the writing itself.
yeah,
Because, yeah, that can be a very tricky thing to start. But once you are able to start the writing, because in your first paragraph, you just want to talk about the motivation why you are doing what you are doing, right? Once you are able to establish that, I think it gets better writing the other part of the work. So my
Yeah.
approach to doing that, of course, yeah, I try to also try to scan through what people do. First paragraph of their introduction. Or if you have like widely recognized reports. For example, if you are in engineering, I could, or you are doing energy study, IEA is my best bet to go to establish my motivation. Probably in their report in 2024, they mentioned that 50% of the energy consumed in the world uh, is fossil fuel contributed that 50%, right? I can follow that to establish my motivation, but most of the time, it might be a tricky one, except you have read their report before and you feel like, oh, this can be a good starting point for my work. But most times, you can also gain that idea from other people's work, like how they started their work. Did they start with like a report that is well known to establish what you are trying to do, gather the motivation, and then you can continue on what you want to write. But yes, it's all about writing the story, right? You have a storyline form up in your head that you want to put down, but starting at times can be a bit tricky. But as long as you're not tilting towards just one person's work, because that's where it is tricky.
That's
If
the trick.
you while you're trying to understand how you want to put down your thoughts, you don't want to focus on just one paper. In that case, you might be
You
leaning
plagiarize.
to copying what they did. So what works for me at times is I will just put two or three papers, look at how the first person wrote their own introduction, the way the second person wrote their own introduction, and synthesizing ideas from there. Yes, I agree with you. It can be very difficult, especially starting that. But looking at one, two, three, don't focus on one. You have the temptation of doing this exactly the same thing that the person did. Then you can come up with something that maybe none of them has done. If you combine all the three knowledge together, that's already also creativity or no novelty in a way because nobody has done it the way you are putting it down because you are merging three ideas to form your own.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. So, okay, my question is that when is the best time for someone to start writing a manuscript for his research paper? And also, I would like you to explain what are your experiences here so far based on writing, and you say also that you are also doing a peer review. Yeah, you are also doing a peer review. And what and what did somebody need for him to, yeah, to be eligible to be a peer review of papers under a particular journal?
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'll answer some like I'll start from the last one, like peer review, and then probably like I'll answer also like um when should you start writing a manuscript to say like you're trying to get a work done. For a peer review perspective, like for me, right, like I would say like I mean, so I have a funny story with peer reviewing, right? Like the first times I got peer, peer review like invites from journals, right? Journals would generally tend to like in a way, right? Like send you invites if you've published enough, especially in well respected like other respected journals, they tend to like invite you. So other times they will ask you when you submit your papers, like, do you want to volunteer to review? And if you say yes, what you say yes, that doesn't mean they will invite you actually. If you say yes and they think like you might be well suited to get the invite, they will invite you. But at some point in your career, probably like you will probably eat it. I can tell you that. But then, yeah, at that point where I'm getting the stuff that I don't want to like look at other people's work again. But like it's something you have to do because that's the way like knowledge goes. So hmm, I would say like you will start getting invites once you start like actively publishing in places where it matters, and those asking you like, do you want to like review? You don't have to have 10 articles to get invited. Actually, you can just say you're publishing like applied time engineering, you're publishing like energy conversion. Those two places other people will be like, this is like 10.7 per factor. It must be a subject matter in this field. They will invite you. But the trap there is like, I think for me, I would say like when I started getting peer review invites, I was not ready to peer review invites. I was not fully knowledgeable when I was getting that, right? Those invites. But the first time I got the invite, it took me some time, right? And if I compare the quality of like my review feedbacks now to what I started with, like what I was like, I laugh at myself like when I remember those kind of things. And in fact, I just kind of say, why did the reviewer even view me when I was writing writing this? But I'm a Christian. Like, I'm just going to give myself some grace. Like, how can I kill myself? But one thing that I would say like, is like, once you start actively publishing, you can't by yourself say like you're ready for peer review. So once you start actively publishing, right? Like, you can't by yourself say like they should intentionally review you, like invite you. It's by invite. Like, so once you start actively publishing, like in journals that matters, um, they would like invite you. Especially like the journal you publishing has more tendency to invite you back to come and like write, to come and like review their work. Because it'll be like, oh, you've gone through the process, you've published this work, now journal, right? Then come back to review. So I would say like once you yourself you think, because don't be like me. Once you yourself you think like you've written enough work, you've got a lot of criticism from other reviewers, like for your own work, they've criticized you a lot. You have experience handling the criticism and the rest, like you've gotten like criticized a lot. I mean, then you're not in the room to also like unleash fire on other people. So so like I would say like once you've gotten enough criticism on your work in the past, you've like in a way like handled criticism like perfectly, like 2 3 papers, like I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't like be concerned. If they ask me that, like, do I want to review? Then I would review. So I would think even getting feedbacks for my own work personally helped me to like become a better reviewer. I would say. So I would say like you can become a reviewer if you like submit paper in where it matters. People would say it. People cite your work. People would nominate you to go and review their work because they cite your work. And you can also like when you're submitting paper, you can also like they'll ask you, do you want to review? If you say yes, when you created the account, if the editor thinks like your work is good and it's lovely enough, that means like you know what you're doing. They will invite you. That's the it's by invite actually. So like that's what I think on that question. On the first question, oh Jesus, on the first question, I'm trying to like remember the first question. I'm sorry, I've got things on my mind.
The first question is the first question is when is it the best time for somebody to start
Start writing.
writing it?
Okay. So like we can start writing say you have a manuscript and the work. For me, again, I'm also guilty of this. Like people say don't postpone your writing till like when it's time to graduate. I don't know. Not postpone your writing till when it's time to like have full result and the rest, right? I mean, I give myself some grace, right? I mean, I have the reasons why I'm trying to like do a research. I have the reasons like lined up. I have the motivation behind my research, even when I'm currently doing it. So I have like this and this and this and this and this and this. I have like research gaps I'm trying to cover when I'm trying to do it. I'll start writing even as I'm working on my stuff on my experiment. And the reason is because like okay, I have my motivations. I'm going to write that. It's going to just make it very fast and efficient. I'll write those out and get it cleared. So like on the other like things like okay, I make this assumption while I was doing this work. You don't want to go and forget like and just kind of leave everything to the end and just forget about everything you've made and then you have like an incomplete like write up. So I'm just going to just jot it down, jot it down, jot it down, jot those things down. But for me, like what my own approach is, I generally trying to like write up like my introduction very fast. Then my methodology, like I write it up as I'm conducting an experiment, something, my methods, and then the conclusion, the result and the rest, I wait till like get my full result. So I'll say like write as you walk. That's my own like best thing. Although I'm guilty, I wait till the end these days, but it's not my fault. It's just. Well, I won't advise it.
I think most importantly, your methodology is your work, and that's the part where you can easily forget. One thing you can't forget is your reason of doing the work, which can even shift as you start your methodology because you can think that, yeah, what I want to do is this, what you want to do is X. And by the time you start doing X and you find out it seems like X is not working, but in the process, you find the Y and you started kind of chasing Y. All right. So the most important part for so that you don't forget what you are doing is start jotting down some of the things you are doing in terms of methodology. It's already established process. I mean, if you mix chemical, 30% of dimethyl with amino acid and all of that, you don't want to forget all of those. So you can start kind of probably jotting, and then when you have the time, you can put it down in the full writing. But yeah, I think the short answer to the question is now. When can you start writing? Now, as soon as you are doing the research.
Okay.
All right. Any other question?
Yeah, yes, I have a question. Okay, like as you are discussing about, yeah, based on the last question, like what is the best way somebody can use to read a research paper as soon as possible within an infinitesimal time? Because as I say, student, most of the time you have many publication or journals to read in order to find the literature gap or to know what you are doing based on what other people have done. So what is the fast way of reading a paper within let me say, because some people they do say that they can read it, finish everything in the paper and understand it within an hour. So I don't know how possible, so how they used to do it. So I'm just curious about that to know how can one be able to read a
Read.
paper and understand everything in the paper within infinitesimal time.
I would go back to the words of my advisor, and then he used to say that, like, I mean, so this is the thing, right? So it says like we're trying to do this research and it's very novel and all those things. So in our mind, it's like we're trying to break a world record. That's the goal he patent to us. At the end, right? Like I thought all of the research was done, like took a lot of years and then got published. And then I was like, when I opened the article, I was like, wait, if I'm to be the one to read this, like, I'm probably not ever really finish. I'll probably not read through all the lines or something, right? Or something. I tell people that, like, you tell people that, like, see, after your committee, the part that, like, I mean, say, since after your committee member have read your thesis and approve it, that he doubts if anybody would, the person would read your thesis, right? Completely. And he's right. Even the committee itself got, like, whenever read your thesis. What I'm trying to say is that, like, so, what I'm trying to say is that, like, you don't for me, right, I was like, these things come with experience. That's something you also need to know. Like, I also like, if you're also struggling with reading, like, give yourself some grace. Don't trust yourself. It comes with experience, right? Like, but one thing I would say is, like, you don't have to read every part of paper. Like, that's essentially a waste of time, sincerely, from my perspective, right? Except the paper is probably like very, very closely related to like what you're doing and it's using the same methodology, trying to use the best methodology or something like if it's not closely related to what you're doing, bro, like just read abstract, like read the objectives and motivations, not everything, look at the results, and done. Move on, like and cite it. But if it's closely related to what you're doing, right, like that's when you should like not take all of your time. And also like in some cases, once it's closely related to what you're doing, or you're trying to like build background in that research and you don't like have no lot of knowledge in it. So like you don't know how things even work in the research, right? Like you're trying to like you don't have a background to the research area. But if you do have a background to the research area, trust me, bro, I'm done with the paper within like 2 minutes. I'm done. Like I don't have to look at it like all through. Especially if it's closely related to my field. But if it's not closely related to my field, then I'll probably like read more, read introduction more, read everything. Like read more. But not read everything actually. Because like these are tons of words. Like I mean, English students, probably English students are in this place. I mean, I'm close to English students. English students are in this place. This one, it's easy for them to read like big novels. Me, I don't like reading. I don't like reading. How do you to read thousands of words in 6 hours? Simple. They are studying music. I read big novels. Those one probably like, can do more work. But for us in sciences, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'll just read what I have to gain from it. And the goal is what I have to get from it. If I have to like gain methods and everything, fine. But that thing that I'm not learning the method for, I'm just not reading it. Except if I want to really understand the background of the thing, or I don't have knowledge, any knowledge about it, then that's when I'll read completely. But please, like, don't waste all of your time because nobody wants to read your work finish when you're done. I can bet it with you.
I think you also need to have a question in mind. What exactly am I trying to do with reading this paper? Are you trying to look for research gap? Then within 2 minutes, like I said, you can skim through the abstract conclusion. You could find something that they have done, and probably they stated some limitation. Yeah. But yeah, if you after you have answered that question, what's the purpose of reading this methodology or reading this journal? If it's to understand that methodology, then that's another case study. You may want to dig deep into the methodology and all of that. I hope that answered your question. All right.
Yeah, you answered the question, but a situation whereby you don't have a strong background knowledge on that particular research area, then you are trying to understand what the person did and also to find the knowledge gap so that you can be able to know what you are going to do based on what previous people have done in that area or in that field. So I'm just thinking, what is the best way of reading as many as possible papers in order to understand what other people have done and also to find the knowledge gap in what
So
other people have done.
I
I would
think,
say that, like,
okay,
get,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I would
ahead.
say like if your goal is to try to build a background in stuff, my goal, if you're going to try to build a background in something, like there's something like you shouldn't do. You don't have to read a lot of papers, like you don't have to read numbers like of papers to like build background knowledge on what you're trying to do. Just pick two, three papers that are closely related and just pick it and just understand those very well. Like once you understand those very well, right? I mean, that will give you the background you're looking for. So if it's background, right, my goal won't be to like read 15 papers. No, it will be to like read just two or three. So so after I've read this something, I now have background into what I do, then I can start like flipping through 15, 20 papers, right? But if you really want to have background, that means you're trying to like even learn. Like that means you have to take your time on two papers and three papers, right? Don't try to read 15 papers if you're trying to like build background on the research you're trying to do. That's just my own thought.
Yeah. So I would say the same. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, answer the question.
All right. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you've learned one or two things so far. And a very big thank you to our speaker for today, the soon-to-be Dr. Michael Adekanbi. Thank you for creating time out of your busy schedule to talk to us on this important topic. And again, we'll be meeting next week, which will be the final final session for this series that we have been looking at. And we'll be having a very good friend of mine and colleague, Charaka, will be talking about journal publication and research dissemination. After you've understood the foundation, the literature review, the methodology building, data analysis and interpretation, and having knowledge of research writing, referencing, and plagiarism, then you probably want to know more about publishing your work and other avenue of disseminating your research. So see you again next week. And thank you again for joining us today. And thank you so much, Michael, for doing this with us. And on this note, enjoy the rest of your evening,
Sorry,
afternoon,
please.
morning.
You said the last classes you will be sending them on our mails. I didn't receive any mail.
The slides? Did you mean the
No, the
slides?
classes.
Oh yeah, I will send them at the end of the fifth one. But if you need it urgently, you can email us and then
Okay, you mean
I'll
at
send
the
it.
end of the whole
Yeah,
lectures?
at the end of the
Okay,
link.
I thought you said at the end. The one that you sent to me last, you ended the call before I could copy the link. I'm sorry.
Okay, I can actually get you the link, and in case anybody on this call is also interested, let me try to put that out.
Uh, since you
Uh,
said since you
yeah,
said
if you need it
after the
urgently.
whole sections, you will send every video. So don't worry. We'll
Yeah,
wait
we
till
already
that
have it
time.
online. We already have it online. It's already on our YouTube page. If you want to watch everything that we have done so far, it's already on YouTube.
Mm. So where
Yes.
is your YouTube link?
Let me try and copy that for you. So, Mike, I understand you have to leave. Oh, I think we have come to the end of the session today. Just in case anybody that need the link to the recording, they can stay.